Good morning, it's Monday again. These weeks come around so quick. It's very cold today. But when I finished last week's video, I said I had one thing more to do on Friday night. So let me show you what that one thing was. The wife's grandparents have just bought a new car. And the garage didn't want their old car. Wasn't even interested, didn't even look, didn't even make an offer, wasn't bothered at all. So Granddad rang us up and said, look, do you want it? Don't want nothing for it, come and get it. Be ashamed to see it scrapped. They've had it since pretty much new, I think. It's got one previous keeper. I think they've had it 17 years. What is it, 2006? So what's that? Yeah, so they had it from a year old. So it's a Vauxhall Meriva. There is quite a few advisories on the MOT, so I'm going to get it on the lift and just go through them advisories and see if any of them have been done. He did mention there's some brake work being done, see what everything's like underneath, and then yeah, we'll try and sell it because I don't want it. It's not too bad. It's got a few little dings on it, as you can expect. They're in their 80s. It's got a scuff there on the wing, a couple of scratches on it. There's a dent in the boot lid. And I think from what I could see it was dark on Friday night, but I think there's some marks on the roof. I think the lacquer has started to go on the roof, and I think a bit on the bonnet as well. So yeah, so let's get it on the lift and let's see what it's like. Right, so in here, let's turn Vernon K off. We've got 117,800 miles. We have aircon. Obviously the original CD player, etc. What else we got? Buttons on the steering wheel, I presume for volume and the radio. Yeah, electric windows, manual mirrors, and then obviously in the back there. So yeah, we've got various books and bits and pieces to go with it. I think it's got some service history. Let me have a look. Yeah, there we go. Look, one former keeper, and the service book is full, so we have full service history as well. So right, let's get on the lift, stop waffling. Right, so the first advisory is wiper blades. Can't check them while it's in the air, but okay, that's not a problem. The other one is suspension arm ball joint cover, severely deteriorated, offside front lower. So let's have a look. Oh yeah, that started to perish. Okay, we can see that. Right, it says play in steering rack inner joints. And yes, there is a tiny amount of play. I can't do it while holding the camera, but yeah, absolutely tiny both sides. Not something I'd be overly concerned about. Next, near side rear spring corroded. Is it really? Next is both front coil springs corroded. Well, that one's got a bit of the powder coating coming off of it, but again, nothing to worry about at all. Next one is service brake offside rear binding. Seems all right to me. It's got a new caliper on there. And it also says pads are wearing thin, but they've been changed. So I wonder whether this one's all been sorted out. Also says the same for the offside rear, and that one is binding. That needs cleaning up, but it has got new pads. They have put new pads in. So this will just still need taking apart and cleaning up. We can sort that. So I've got a new coil spring in there as well. So that's not on the advisories. Also says near side front wheel binding. That seems all right. Another advisory is the rear number plate is deteriorated but still able to read. So I think that's been done. Also says this brake pipe here that goes between this flexi and that flexi, and that is a little bit crusty. So we might have to change that while we've got this side apart to service these brakes. And the last advisory is underside of car corroded. I don't think it's bad at all under here. Not at all. So I do worry about some MOTs. Obviously they're a couple in their 80s. So I do wonder whether they go a bit crazy to try and get some work. But yeah, we ain't going to worry about most of them. We'll sort the rear brakes out. Yeah, but it's absolutely fine under here. Okay, so the sliders, the sliders were moving, and they are moving. I will just take them out and clean them and grease them up. But I couldn't turn the caliper, I couldn't wind it by hand. So I've now used the winding tool on the air gun, and it's now moving by hand. So hopefully that might be why. But we'll give that a few more ins and outs just to make sure. Grease up them sliders and then put it back together and see where we're at. Right, I've had a good look at this rear pipe. Oh, this shock doesn't look very nice either, does it? That's a bit wet. Might need a rear shock. And this hard pipe is actually part of the flexi. So it's got a flexi, a bit of hard pipe and a flexi at the other end. So I've just Googled it and that is right. It's one long piece. So I've got to change the whole lot. So I'll get one of them ordered and probably a rear shock as well. Right, I'm just waiting on parts for this now. I've got to order, I'm ordering 2 rear shocks, the rear brake pipe, a front wishbone, and something else. Can't remember. So yeah, so I've ordered those, so we just got to sit and wait now really. I'll leave this on the ramp, so I'm going to get on with some Defender stuff. The wishbone has turned up for this. So I've taken the little cover off that was screwed in there and a couple underneath. And I've got that bolt there to undo. I've got the bolt that goes up through it, and then obviously the pinch bolt on the wishbone itself. So let's get all those undone. And it's off. We have a bolt and nut. It's not even captive, which is a pain in the backside on the back. Nut and bolt on the front mount, and then obviously the pinch bolt, which I've already undone. So that's out. So let's put the new fresh one back in. Right, new one's in. I've lifted the hub up, because obviously you should always do bolts up on bushes at ride height. So I've jacked that up. So now it's got to move this out of the way and do the pinch bolt. But yeah, it's in. There we go, that looks better, doesn't it? New shocks have arrived. Undo the bolts, put the new shock in, do it back up. So I've got one for the other side as well. So you should always do in a pair. So I'm going to quickly do the other side as well. And there we go, a new one on this side as well. So that buttons that up. So now all I'm waiting on is the brake hose for the other side and track rod ends, I think. Thursday morning, got Ford Fusion in for MOT. It failed on emissions. So first thing I'm changing is the Lambdas, because it had fault codes come up for Lambdas. So I'm going to change them first, take it back down and get the emissions tested. If it, without clocking onto an MOT, if it passes, then we'll book it in for a retest. If not, we're going to look at the cats. But I got the old one out. It was a bit of an issue. It's quite a dodgy place. It's just there. Just what I had to do was cut the clip has a little plastic shroud around it. Where is it? If I'll show you on, oh, it doesn't have it on this one. Let me find the old one. So here's the one I took out. There was a little plastic cover over this clip. So I cut that off, which allowed me to get a ring spanner on it, and then I was able to tap it with a hammer and undo it. So I'm now just putting the new one in, and then we've got to get to the top one and see where that one is. So let's put this one back in the hole and go from there. And the other one's off. Just took the top box off. It was 2 poppers on there, look, and 2 bolts here, 2 10mm, and then the other one is just in there. So yeah, managed to get the socket on it, the Lambda socket, and loosened it out. So I'm just waiting for the second one to arrive. So time for a cup of tea, I think. Okay, so the Fusion, I changed both Lambdas on the Fusion, took it in for them just to test the emissions before it went in for a retest, and boom, pretty much 0. So yeah, straight in for a retest, flew through. So that is the Fusion done for another year with no advisories at all. Perfect. So I'm back on the Meriva. I'm due some more bits today, and all we're waiting on now is track rod ends and the brake line. So I'm going to get the track rods dismantled and ready to go. Let me show you. I have already loosened them as such, so I've just knocked that lock nut round.
Don't want to do it too much. I just want to do it enough so it's loose from the track rod end, because then that will be our point as to where to put the new track rod end in. So yeah, so just undone that bolt ever so slightly just to release the tension, and then obviously we'll undo this and then we'll wind it off. And because the lock bolt is stayed there, we will count, but we don't have to, because obviously we just got to get it back in the same place. So let's get that undone. And there we go, undo the 17mm nut. And then I try not to use splitters, you know, the forks that you hammer in there. I just hammer the actual arm and the hub, and then that breaks the taper. So I just try, I don't know, I mean you can do, but I just, for the sake of hitting that a couple of times, it just pops out anyway, so there's no need to get that tool out. So there we go. So that's now ready to come off. I'm going to do the other side in preparation. Hopefully they'll be here very shortly, the track rods ends. Both new track rods are done. So that's stopped the play. And also just to check, obviously I did this brake the other day to make sure it's not binding. There we go. So we're all good. So let's get the wheels back on. We're just waiting on the brake hose now for the rear. And I'm at home. I forgot to do an outro at work, but yeah, that's it for this week.
It's not actually. There's another video to come. So hold tight.
So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and share. Next week, I'm not really sure yet. Hopefully those panels will go off for painting. And I've got hopefully the brake pipe will turn up for the Meriva. And that's all I really know at the moment. So we'll have to play it by ear. So have a great weekend, guys. And I'll see you then.